Good day. I was a farm manager in the Boland area for 15 years. For the first 10 years I was under the illusion that I was a good farmer. I used the latest technology and diligently followed any recommendations that were given. I finally realized the limitations of my own professional skills the day that I understood what sustainable farming was really all about. The farm that I was managing was a new development and the orchards were established on virgin soil. It is common knowledge that virgin soil has very few pests and diseases compared with previously farmed soil. For the first 5 years this was the case, but as time went by, pest and disease levels gradually increased. After 10 years, nematodes, weevils and fungal diseases became a big problem and fertilizers were less effective. We started spraying more pesticides and fungicides, but this just aggravated the situation. I found this cycle of events very puzzling and incomprehensible. My eureka moment occurred when I fully grasped the importance of soil life for the first time. My management practices resulted in a systematic termination of the microbial life in the soil and the natural predators that kept pests and diseases at bay. Symptoms like increased disease pressure and the need for larger volumes of fertilizers are all indicators of soil in dire condition. This realization changed my perception of conventional farming practices and resulted in a total mind shift. It took 10 years to destroy the life in the soil, but due to my impatient nature, I wanted to find a way to rehabilitate the soil in the most economical and fastest manner possible. Out of personal experience, I can honestly say that compost tea is the answer. In 2000, I was one of the first farmers in South Africa to use compost tea. I further developed the concept of compost tea and was absolutely astonished at the results that I achieved. Within 3 years of using compost tea, I managed to decrease the levels of pests and plant diseases significantly. The growth of trees improved drastically and I was able to decrease nitrogen applications by 70% over a 5-year period. By restoring soil health, I fully grasped the value and meaning of sustainable farming.
Yaku wanted to share his experience with as many farmers as possible. He resigned as farm manager in 2005 and started Ecosoil. Since then, Ecosoil has helped hundreds of farmers to increase their profits in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner. The process of increasing soil fertility takes time. The more time spent on improving soil health, the better the end result. With this in mind, Ecosoil has a long-term relationship with its clients. Our head office is situated in Grabo in the Western Cape. We also have numerous agents countrywide. Ecosoil also boasts a laboratory facility where strict control measures are carried out by its microbiologists to ensure the integrity of the products. Ecosoil's experienced team will assist you in farming in a truly sustainable manner that will result in increased profits. Ecosoil's motto is "Save your soil, secure your livelihood." What is compost tea? Compost tea is a water extract of compost which contains nutrients and a diverse collection of bacteria, fungi, protozoa and favorable nematodes. Compost is used as the inoculator of the microbes, and nutrients are added to increase the microbial population. Air is circulated through the compost extract to supply the microorganisms with oxygen that they require. Advantages of Ecosoil's compost tea: decreased soil compaction, increased soil organic matter, lower fertilizer requirements, improved root development, restored soil life, fewer pests and diseases, healthier plants, lower irrigation requirements and increased water infiltration rate, better growth, increased production and better quality produce. Let's look at each of these advantages in more detail. Decreased soil compaction. Dead compacted soil like this can easily be converted into fertile soil. Fertile soil is not compacted and contains about 50% pore space. These pores are formed by microorganisms, earthworms and arthropods. Oxygen is crucial for root development and a lot of nutrients are only absorbed by new roots. Therefore, soil compaction can have a detrimental impact on plant growth. Most pathogens prefer compacted soil and anaerobic conditions.
Soos mes deur botter. Hy was baie hard. Ons kon hier niks inkry nie.
Hier kan jy niks inkry nie. Is 'n bietjie sagter daar waar die organiese materiaal is 'n bietjie sagter. gaan die so 4 cm uit.
Fantasties.
Druk maar weer dieselfde gat in.
Dis is nou op hierdie tipe grond.
Ja, wat
Eintlik nie grond is. Ja, ek het hom geboer het ek het hom gekoop. Ek is nou dood eerlik met jou.
Increased soil organic matter. This soil is deficient in organic matter and has no cation exchange capacity. It will typically need a lot more fertilizer than fertile soil. Organic matter can be increased through different methods. For annual crops, minimal tillage practices can be used to increase organic matter. Irrigated annual crops produce vast amounts of organic material. When the soil is dead, as in this case, the organic matter is broken down very slowly.
Baie dik lag kaf wat nog nie afgebreek is nie. Hierdie is alles Desember laas jaar se voedingreste van Desember laas jaar. Hierdie hele dik pak. Ja, daar is dan 'n groot verskil, hè.
Ja, hier gaat nog nie. We gaan kyk, hy is ook poreus.
Ja, maar is nog nie.
Maar hy is hom nie naaste my nou.
Ja.
By applying compost tea to these plant residues, they are broken down faster to form humus. See how the soil structure has improved. To illustrate the effectiveness of compost tea in degrading organic matter, compare the color of the organic matter and the amount of fungal hyphae present between wood chips treated with compost tea and the control. For perennial crops, living mulches or mulches of wood or hay can be used.
You saw how thick that mulch is that I put there. It was like this. The same amount of mouse, that thick, was lying under these trees this time last year. It's gone. It's gone. Now remember, I did not throw compost on this ground. I only created compost with mulching and compost tea. Now remember, we're dealing with an orange soil here. And that's definitely got a lot of carbon. You always talked about that krumerigheid, Jaco, with your sort of, I don't even know what the word is, but to get this in series scarly is special.
Weed killers are often sprayed under perennial crops. Where this practice has been followed for years, the concentration of carbon in the soil is depleted to levels below 1%. Contrary to this, in the inter-row area where weeds are left to grow, the organic matter levels can be as much as 5%. This soil is clearly much more fertile here, as reflected by the amount of earthworms present when compared with the area under the trees. Most weeds do not compete with perennial crops for nutrients over the long term. Farmers often apply as much as 4 times the amount of fertilizer required by the crops, and most of this is lost through leaching from the soil. By letting weeds grow, they produce substantial amounts of organic biomass while utilizing this extra fertilizer, and in so doing prevent the leaching thereof. When weeds are cut down or killed with herbicides, they are converted into readily available plant nutrients by the soil microorganisms. The added advantage is that a highly leachable inorganic fertilizer is transformed by weeds into a stable, slow-release organic fertilizer. Weeds are thus feeding the crop, completely contradictory to conventional thinking. An added advantage of weeds is that they prevent soil compaction and erosion. Weeds also feed the microbial populations in the soil through nutritive root excretions. The root excretions differ between various plant species and thus attract different microbial populations. The more diverse the plant species, such as weeds, the greater the diversity of the microorganisms that can survive in the soil. This microbial diversity is required to keep plant pathogens levels below the disease threshold. Lower fertilizer requirements. Microorganisms break down organic material, thus releasing the nutrients present. Just look at the amount of energy that is released from burning wood. Microorganisms have the capability to release all this energy for the plant to utilize. Even thick branches are decomposed. Roots literally grow into these branches to utilize the nutrients. Just imagine how much fertilizer could be saved when all the nutrients present in organic matter are released. This shallow root system is an example of how much plants value these organic nutrients. Bacteria contain a lot of protein and require nitrogen for multiplication and growth purposes. In dead soil, a lot of nitrogen is lost due to leaching. In a healthy soil, bacteria utilize the fertilizer to multiply and grow and thus prevent the leaching of the fertilizer. Bacteria are predated by protozoa, and in the process, nutrients are released for the plants to use. Compost tea also makes fertilizer more readily available for plants. Improved root development. With Ecosoil's compost tea, your plant's root volume will more than double.
Massa fyn wortels. Maar kyk hierdie wit groeipunte. Wit wortels.
Goed hoor.
Daai is ongelooflik. En as ek grawe, kyk ek altyd vir wit wortels. Had niks aangegaan nie. Hulle was soos hierdie bonsai boontjies. Rame afgesaag, was geen groei op hulle nie. Moedermis gegooi, gemals, compost tea begin toedien. Kyk hierdie klas groeie.
Restored soil life. A mind shift is required. Stop thinking, what can I exterminate? And start thinking, how can I stimulate more organisms to live? Predators, earthworms and arthropods increase in numbers with the use of compost tea.
Basically, the whole object of the mission is to get as softer climate as possible on the soil and the roots. An alive culture, an alive environment with moisture content up, that's the mulching, and then obviously as much activity from the compost and compost tea. This orchard does get 200 to 300 litres of compost tea a month. Okay, thank goodness I didn't have to scratch too long for it, but that's just, he's pottering around on the surface, so there's definitely something going on. Back you go.
Hoe vol gate is hy? Nie sommer aardworm so goed. Maar kyk, by my trek is 'n groot borswortels uit.
A simple method to determine if a soil is healthy is to pull out a plant and look at the amount of soil that is extracted with the roots. Microorganisms feed on root exudates and build soil structure by means of substances they excrete that bind soil particles together to form aggregates. Fewer pests and diseases. A decline in pests and diseases can be observed from the second year of using compost tea.
Ja, ons gee nou al 3 jaar hier compost tea. Ons vir jare eerste keer dat ons duidelike verskil kan sien. Soos jy afgestap het, ons sien die onderste deel kom waar die kontrole is, daar duidelik meer klanderskade. Op baie plekke kan ons ook 'n verskil in groei sien.
Healthier plants. Ecosoil's compost tea increases plants' resistance to diseases. This block of Chenin Blanc in Camus has a lot of mildew damage, even though it received 6 antifungal sprays. Just 100 meters from this block is another block of Chenin Blanc that only received 4 antifungal sprays, but has far less mildew damage. This block, however, received soil treatments of compost tea for the previous 2 years. Healthy soil leads to healthy plants. Lower irrigation requirements and increased water infiltration rate. As the organic levels of the soil increase, so does the water holding capacity. Just look at the water holding capacity of organic matter. To illustrate good soil drainage, Yaku is going to simulate a heavy downpour of rain by applying 100 millimeters of water to the soil in 40 seconds. Better growth. The sunflowers on the right have been treated with compost tea. The first treatment was applied a short time after planting, and the increase in the leaf surface area can easily be observed.
Die sonneblom is baie mooi. Dit sommer 'n blinkheid op die blare. Sommer die hele plant, dit is sommer sien die stam als, nê. Baie mooi. Die blare. Ons kry baie keer in hierdie baie reën kry jy wit roes op die kyk hy baie lae besmetting. En hy het baie hierdie moet ek ook sê, het hy gekry voor ons, jy sal sien is net op die onderste blare, voor ons begin compost tea gee, nê. Maar daai het selfs daai punte wat jy afgeneem het 'n breë blaar hierbo.
Ja.
En hierdie het so 'n dun smal blaartjie hierbo. Maar jy het nie naaste met dieselfde lewenskragtigheid in die plant nie. nie naaste my.
Ja, Jaco, ons het hier gesit met 'n geval van boompies wat baie swak was uit die kwekerye uit. Ek meen ons het hom gekry op 'n hoogte van enige iets tussen 900 en 1.2. En die idee wat ons toe gehad het is om hom terug te sny en om 'n beter wortelstelsel te gee dat hy net eers 'n bietjie sy voete vind. Daarom het ons hom teruggesny op hierdie hoogte en ons sit nou op hierdie stadium met 'n tweede bladboom wat ver verby die derde draad is. Ek meen dit is 'n boom waarmee jy ou skielik kan begin werk. Die filosofie wat ek glo, hoekom ek glo in die Compost Tea idee ook is, jy weet 'n ou probeer om jou grond so volhoubaar as moontlik te boer. So waarom dan nou nie? Dit is hoekom ek besluit het ook om hierdie materiaal so goed as moontlik te behou dat ons 'n deeglike mat kan kry. Volgende week kom ons hier oor met 'n baie lekker stewige onkruiddoder dat ons hom 'n goeie mat kan gee en dat ons die vog van hierdie sanderiger gronde wat baie gou steriel kan raak en wat baie gou warm raak en wat hierdie haarworteltjies kan skroei om 'n lekker mat te maak dat ons grondtemperature so 'n bietjie kan afkoel. Ek is opgewonde om te sien wat hierdie boontjies vir ons oor 'n jaar van nou af kan gee. Ons kan al volgende jaar dalk die eerste oesie op hulle sit. Ja, ek is baie opgewonde oor die resultate hierso.
Vandat ek hier gekom het, wat ek gesien het van die groei wat op die jong stokkies, ek het hier gekom toe sit mos toe hulle geplant, toe hulle in September geplant en ek is in Februarie aangekom. En wat ons gesien het van die grond was sommer kaal grond, jy weet. Hy was 'n grond wat leweloos wat nie lewe aangehad het en ons het Compost Tea en ons het mos 'n mis en goeders ons ander materiale en kaf bygewerk. En nou is die grond met lewe. As jy in die grond krap, kry jy jou aardwurmpies en jy kry jou wurmpies en jy kan sommer sien as ons lewe, die onkruide groei, alles so, alles is mos 'n teken dat jou grond het verbeter. Groei op die blokke is baie goed, soos daai blokke wat jy self gesien het daaronder, met daai jong stokkies wat glad eers gedra het, dit is sommer groei lekker wild. Op die braakkolle groei haarself, jy kan sommer sien as ons lewe, as jy as ons daai knop, daar soos die stokkies was sommer so pateterig, en van hoe meer ons die Compost Tea en hoe meer ons op die grond kan sien, dat jou goeters die lewe gekom. Dit is nie meer daai ou tragiese stokkie, jy kan sien daar's groeipunte en daar's lewe en al daai goeters so. Definitief dit dink ek het dit versekerde effek gehad op daai grond se lewe en om die grond beter te maak.
Increased production and better quality of produce. As soil fertility increases, so will crop yields increase.
Hier's 2 ton kompos uitgegooi. So ons het die mate naby die saad neergesit. So die saad met enstof behandel. En ons het toe die sojaboontjies so was het ons hulle met Compost Tea gespuit. En ek dink hulle is vir ons wêreld is dit vir sojas reg hierdie. Ons hier kan kom, dan dink ek ons is reg. En hulle het baie geblom, nee, hulle het baie mooi peeltjies en dit kan jy sommer so wys en kan jy sien. Kyk hoe sit die blommetjies. So hulle ek dink hulle het 'n mooi potensiaal. En hy het mooi hoog eers begin peel, so as hulle mooi kan stroop en hy het reg deur gepeel tot bo.
In vergelyking met laas jaar het ons gronde baie toegeslaan. Ons baie klein saai's gehad. Het ons nou begin met die Compost Tea. En die grond is baie meer bros en ons saai is baie beter. Ons het nou al gepak van hulle. Ons piek op 'n medium en 'n large.
Daar is 'n biologiese program op die een helfte van hierdie spotpunt gevolg, waarvan Compost Tea 'n integrale deel was.
En nog kyk of daar 'n verskil is op daai kant. Hoe is die verskil?
How is it possible that all these advantages are accomplished with just one product? Simple. Ecosoil mimics the processes that occur in nature. In natural environments, plants are healthy and green, even though they do not receive fertilizers or pesticides. Look at this banana tree in nature. One would expect the trees and shrubs to compete for nutrients with the banana tree. How is it possible that a banana tree can flourish in these circumstances? If this field had to be cleared for a banana plantation, the first 2 years would have few pests and diseases, and very little fertilizer would be required. The following years, a steady increase in fertilizer applications would be required. Pests and diseases will increase as time goes by. The question is, why does this happen? Natural ecosystems have the ability to produce their own fertilizers and pesticides. Mycorrhiza are fungi that infiltrate the plant roots and form a symbiotic relationship with the plant. The fungal hyphae form a web-like network that penetrates the soil and acquires the necessary phosphates and calcium for the plant, in return for which the plant provides the mycorrhiza with nutrients. Legumes contain pink nodules on the roots which harbor bacteria that are capable of fixing nitrogen. Free-living nitrogen-fixing bacteria are also present in the soil and are able to fix atmospheric nitrogen and make it available for plant use. Plants are also provided with essential nutrients when organic matter is broken down by the soil microorganisms. Plants synthesize carbohydrates during photosynthesis. Few farmers realize that 30% of these carbohydrates are secreted through the roots as a nutrient source for soil microorganisms. Microorganisms are attracted to these exudates, but since these exudates differ between various plant species, the microbial population found among the roots differs between different plant species. A diversity of plant species can be found in nature, as seen around this banana tree. The microbial diversity present in the soil around the banana plant ensures that the plant is productive and healthy without the application of fertilizers and pesticides. If this land is cleared and a banana plantation is established, then the nutrients secreted by the roots will only feed a small selection of microbial populations. In the absence of diverse microbial populations, there is a lack of natural predators, and pathogens thrive. In unhealthy soil, disease-causing microorganisms are in abundance, and very few beneficial microorganisms exist. By applying Ecosoil's Compost Tea, very high concentrations of diverse beneficial microorganisms are introduced to the soil, thus decreasing pathogens over time. With time, the soil becomes much more porous. The banana plantation on the right is managed according to conventional agricultural methods, in comparison with the plantation on the left, where a biological approach is followed. Plants are healthier and less fertilizer is required when the soil's microbial balance is restored. Microbial diversity is of utmost importance to achieve excellent results in sustainable farming. Ecosoil understands the importance of microbial diversity, and therefore its compost is manufactured in a unique manner to contain a diverse selection of microorganisms. Ecosoil also adds various organic nutrients to increase the yield and growth of crops. Microorganisms are extracted from the compost in the compost tea tanks, and selected nutrients are added to increase the microbial population. As the microbial population increases, the demand for oxygen in the tank increases. The brewing process is kept aerobic to accommodate the oxygen demand of the microorganisms. This recipe has been researched to ensure optimal microbial growth within the oxygen demands of the microorganisms. The oxygen levels should always be above 6 parts per million for a well-aerated brewing tank. After 48 hours, the compost tea is ready to be used. Ecosoil's microbiologist is responsible for product development and quality control, ensuring that its clients are kept abreast with the latest technology. Ecosoil's products are registered with the Department of Agriculture and are certified suitable for organic agriculture by EcoCert. Ecosoil's compost tea versus single-strain microbial products. There are various effective single-strain microbial products on the market that address specific problems such as nematodes and fusarium. These organic products only address the symptoms in an environmentally friendly manner, but do not resolve the underlying problem of dead soil. Ecosoil's compost tea, however, contains thousands of different species of bacteria, fungi, protozoa and beneficial nematodes that convert lifeless soil into fertile soil in a relatively short period of time. Ecosoil's compost tea also contains organic plant nutrients such as vitamins, amino acids and plant growth hormones. It's due to this attention to detail that Ecosoil's compost tea achieves such desirable results. Compost tea systems. Desirable results are only achievable with the production of good quality compost tea. The compost tea systems therefore need to be of good quality. Ecosoil has made major investments in making the Compost Tea systems more user-friendly and effective. Ecosoil has 3 different sized brewing tanks on offer. The 1,200 litre tank has a flat bottom. The bottom of the patented 2,500 litre and 5,000 litre tanks have been designed in such a manner that the organic material always sinks down to the aeration pipes at the bottom of the tank, which ensures that the organic matter is well circulated. This prevents the organic matter from accumulating in certain places. The tank is also designed with a sump and can thus be drained completely with complete ease. These tanks are also ideal for dissolving fertilizer. Air is supplied by a blower. The bubbler pipes situated at the bottom of the tanks are designed to form very fine aeration bubbles. These bubbles need to be very small to ensure maximum air diffusion into the brew. Ecosoil's compost is placed inside this sieve for better microbe extraction purposes and cleaning of tanks. These sieves contain their own aeration devices which ensure that the compost is stirred continuously, thus enabling better microorganism extraction. Microorganisms do not reproduce at low temperatures, and therefore a heater is attached to the inside of the tank to warm up the brew to 28 degrees Celsius. Starting a brew. The tank is filled with water. The blower and heater are switched on. All the ingredients are already measured out. The compost is emptied into the sieve and the nutrients into the tank. The following day, the second bag of nutrients is added, and on the third day, the brew is ready to use. Application methods. Compost tea is an aerobic product and needs to be aerated continuously. The brew needs to be used within 4 hours once it has been removed from the aerated tank. It is best to apply the brew through the irrigation system. There are several methods to do this. Spray cart. The compost tea is pumped out into the spray cart with the use of a submersible pump. The brew needs to be filtered before use to remove solid organic particles. A dosing meter that can be adjusted according to the required dose is attached to the spray cart. The brew is injected through a turf valve which is attached to a central point or at each valve, directly out of the compost tea brewing tank. The compost tea system can be erected at the pump station from where the brew can be pumped directly out of the brewing tank into the irrigation system. Due to the high concentration of organic matter in the brew, it is advisable to pump the brew through a sieve into another tank to filter the brew. If the brew is pumped into the irrigation system within a 4-hour time period, the second tank does not require aeration. If it takes longer than 4 hours to apply the compost tea, then the second tank also needs to be aerated. Mobile systems for pivots. In general, it takes 12 hours for pivots to complete an irrigation cycle. The compost tea is pumped into a mobile unit such as this. The mobile unit is equipped with an aeration pump to aerate the compost tea while it is being applied. The unit is also equipped with a diaphragm dosing pump that applies the compost tea at a certain rate. Dry land. This minimum till planter is equipped with 2 tanks. The one tank contains compost tea and the other tank contains nutrients required by the microorganisms to propagate in the soil. This mixture is applied on the seed during planting. In this way, the microorganisms are established on the roots and grow with the plant, developing colonies that disperse within the soil. In trials on wheat in Bredasdorp, the results indicated a 14% increase in yield, with 0.5% increase in protein content. Similar trials were conducted on dryland maize in Kroonstad, where a 6% increase in yield was observed. This Heidelberg farmer has his own feedlot and administers cattle manure at a rate of 25 tons per hectare. On the first portion that appears yellow, no compost tea has been applied. The greener section was treated with 200 litres of compost tea and 10 litres of Apex during planting. Sprays. Compost tea can be applied as a foliar spray to control certain fungal diseases and can also act as a foliar feed. When soil treatments are done with a boom sprayer, the compost tea needs to be washed into the soil as soon as possible after application. Subcontractor. In certain areas, Ecosoil provides a service where compost tea is brewed on its premises and is then transported to the farmer, where the brew is pumped into the orchards. The farmer buys 1,000-litre batches at a time. Application dosages. Specific application programs will be supplied according to crop type. As a general rule, between 600 and 800 litres per season is applied for annual crops with a 3-month growing season, and between 800 and 2,400 litres per year for perennial crops. Dry land crops require a single dose of 100 litres of compost tea and 6 litres of Apex during planting. Nutrients such as humic acid, fulvic acid and Apex can also be applied to supplement compost tea. These nutrients promote the uptake of fertilizer and also serve as a nutrient source for the microorganisms. Analytical services. It is important for us at Ecosoil to build a long-term relationship with our clients. Improvements in soil health are a time-consuming process. Some results are attainable within a year, but really exceptional results are only visible after 3 years. We take pride in our value system of honesty, integrity and passion. Therefore, we like to show our clients the results that they achieve in a measurable manner. We advise all our clients to leave a control section so that they can compare this with the treated areas over a couple of years.
Ons het hier kool geplant. Ons wil graag vir jare proefie hier ook doen. Compost tea, soos ek gesê het, is mos nou nie 'n quick fix nie. Maar met die groente soek ou dadelik resultate, en as dit vir jou in die eerste jare verbetering in produksie kan gee en jy weet daarbey dat jy 'n langtermyn verbetering in die grond teweegbring, dan kan dit net positief wees. Ons het vir jare proef op eie ook gedoen. Ons het 2 keer 100 liter compost tea ingesit en ons het 'n wesenlike verskil gesien.
Ecosoil will also be providing a service from mid-2010 where soil health will be measured according to various criteria. A holistic approach will be followed to determine the physical, biological and chemical status of the soil. A soil health index will be determined and used as an indicator to measure any improvement in the health of the soil. This analysis will be repeated every 2 years. We live in challenging times where change is the only certainty. Climate change, economic turmoil, production cost increases, and marginal soil are just some of the challenges that farmers have to face. As a one-time farmer, Jaco can identify with this. Ecosoil has been assisting farmers since 2005 in solving the problems that they themselves can control in an effective and environmentally friendly manner. This enables farmers to reduce production costs, to increase crop yield, and to improve soil fertility, thereby lowering the impact of global warming and lowering their carbon footprint. The feedback from our clients should leave no doubt that Ecosoil is a trustworthy and stable company with excellent products. We do everything in our power to assist our clients to make the transition to sustainable farming as painless as possible. All you need to do is make a mind shift. Ecosoil's microorganisms will do the rest.
Wat het my besluit om compost tea te gebruik? Ek het water gegee en al die water het van die bankie afgeloop tot in die middel van die ry. Ek het elke jaar klomp geld spandeer aan bloedluis. Die bloedluis het boom se wortels opgevreet. Die kalannas het elke jaar my oesbasis vernietig. Ek het klomp geld spandeer aan kalanderbande, klomp geld spandeer aan Confidor. Maar my hoofrede vir compost tea was gewees om die grond reg te kry. Die grondstruktuur reg te kry, so die boom kan groei. My bome wou nie groei nie, groei net tot so 1,5 meter. Die toppe wil nooit groei nie. So ek moes 'n plan maak om die bome weer lewe te gee. Ek het sit met 'n lae tonnemaat plaas. Ander manne praat van 80-90 ton. Hoe gaan ek dit reg kry? Die grond reg te maak. Waar het ek begin? Ek het begin met compost tea. Snoeisels wat ek snoeitakke al op my bankie te pak, die blare word vasgevang. Die onkruid is 'n goedkope manier om 'n deklaag te vestig. Onkruid groei, hy gaan dood, hy maak die grond los, hy val plat, lekker deklaag. Wat vir my voordeel is van die Compost Tea is die grond se tekstuur. Die grond is vir my baie meer bros. In die verlede het ek water gegee, al die water loop weg, want dit maak 'n harde kosboom. Nou met 'n deklaag op die grond en met Compost Tea is my struktuur van die grond baie losser, so my water word baie beter opgeneem. My bome is onder baie minder stres as gevolg van die grond wat beter is, die waterhouvermoë wat beter is. In die begin het ek baie probleme gehad met kalanders en bloedluis. Ek het 'n jaar het ek geen kalanderbande opgesit nie. Jy kan sien die bome skaal. 2 keer gespuit vir kalanders, net om veilig te wees. Ek het nêrens skade vir kalanders nie. Bloedluis is daar geen tekens op die grond van bloedluis nie en die bome is skoon. En ek het baie goeie resultate met die groei van die boom. Ek het lekker baie appels in die boom en kry genoeg goeie groei. En dit is vir my 'n goeie teken dat die boom 'n gesonde grond het en meer gesond is as in die verlede. Oor die algemeen is die vrugte ook groter aan die boom.
The time has come to change your mindset. Think of your future. Think of your legacy.
My hope is in you.
Think Ecosoil. Real, sustainable benefits are attainable with Ecosoil's products and services. Save your soil. Secure your livelihood.